Why in the world do you think that women who have more egalitarianism now than ever before, have more of these gaps closed than ever before, are more fucking miserable than ever before?
Wait, I first have a question on something you said. So, if men kind of established the framework of rights and happiness, why is it that men are the ones disproportionately uh, facing oppression in society?
Well, remember what I said earlier, that men also oppress men, that men are the mechanism for that as well. I don't blame women for this. That's not the crux of my argument. I still think that men are the responsible party when it comes to the oppression in general of other men.
But
But
why
in
are
this
they
particular,
disproportionately affecting men more than women if men are the ones who are, like you
it's
said, being
just it's
fighted in
not. It's
divorce courts?
disproportionately affecting women more than it is men. It's just that in this particular case, when you're talking about the uptick, the slight uptick in things like suicidality and things like this, it's because the laws, which are on the books, tend to favor women because women are a great consumer arm for corporate America. They're in charge of most of the money. Literally, they're in charge of almost all consumer spending. So laws are kind of tailored to kiss their ass. Corporations and lobbyists have gone out of their way under feminism to make sure that women's asses are kissed, and men seem to suffer greatly because of that.
Okay, so men create a framework that oppresses men so that they can make more money off female consumer spending.
Is that what I said? Is that
No,
honestly
I'm
what you think I
asking.
said? I need to know. Is that honestly what you think I just said?
I'm asking.
Yeah, I know you're asking, but you're asking a question that's not in relationship to anything I just said. So the question doesn't even make sense. So what just happened would be like if I walk over to a guy and I say, "What color do you want me to paint your fence?" And he looks at me and he says, "Margarine hat." Be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Right? You might be asking me a question, but it's not in relationship to anything I just said. So if do you want to ask me a question in relationship to something I actually said?
Sure. Can you summarize what your point was then?
Yes, my point is that, again, as countries have become more and more egalitarian under feminism, and this is feminist women and feminist men who are coming together under the same banner of I heart women's rights. It's become more egalitarian. Why is it that the index for all of these mental illnesses and problems for women are through the roof when feminism made the promise that these things should necessarily decrease?
Feminism made the promise that mental illness for women would go down.
That all
I thought
aspects of
feminism was
women,
about assuring equal opportunity. I don't know if feminism
that
is
the
promising that
quality
you're going to
of
be
women's
happier.
lives would greatly increase. It has not seemingly done that unless you think that a woman's quality of life is not impacted by mental illness, which I would say it is, especially if 25% are on an antipsychotic, antidepressant, or some variation thereof.
I don't know if that's necessarily feminism's fault. Like you just said, we're in a framework in which sometimes laws are created to that like disaffect people mentally, like you just pointed to the divorce courts. I guess I'm just trying to wonder, why are you attributing the uptick in women's mental illness to feminism singularly? Like, how come you don't think it's just an effect of just, I don't know, other consequences of modernization?
Because women are the ones who have pushed, and feminists, male feminists as well, have pushed for egalitarianism. And across the board, in nations we see that become more egalitarian, we see this huge gap increase between men and women when it comes to women, A, wanting to do things that are more in line with their gender, which is a bizarre side effect feminists never want to talk about, but also that their state of mental happiness and mental health seems to rapidly deteriorate, which is fucking bizarre. These are, we can link this because we can look at other countries that have way more egalitarianism than even the United States, and we see similar numbers.
Yeah, I guess I should probably read more about those studies and then we can reconvene at a later time. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I mean, that's all I really had.